Ivanka Trump was once a constant presence in American life, appearing on TV shows and at her father's rallies and White House events. But now it's rare for the former first daughter to even post on Instagram. So what happened? Keep watching to find out. When any White House administration leaves, their security clearance goes out the door too. For Ivanka Trump, she lost her White House title and security clearance when her father lost the 2020 election to President Joe Biden.
The kid from Scranton becomes the next leader of the free world.
However, some people were shocked that she was granted security clearance at all. Donald was adamant that his daughter, who he had named as a senior advisor, be granted a high security clearance, but his then chief of staff, John Kelly, and his White House counsel, Don McGahn, didn't support the decision.
What exactly is her role here?
I think her role is to be helpful and provide input.
Kelly and McGahn let the then president know of their recommendation to not grant Ivanka high security clearance, but despite their suggestion, Donald went ahead with it. Why was this a big deal in the first place? As CNN has noted, it is usually up to the White House Personnel Security Office to determine who is granted high security clearance and who isn't, as the decision involves the FBI and an extensive background check. Despite the Personnel Security Office's concerns and Kelly and McGahn's denial of the request, Donald made sure that Ivanka had clearance. One of the most significant ways in which Ivanka Trump has changed is in relation to her global status. At the height of Donald Trump's presidency, Ivanka was representing the United States on the world stage and was even accompanying her father on diplomatic trips. That status has completely changed for her, as she is no longer in the public eye, let alone on the biggest political stage. Perhaps the most significant event that Ivanka attended with her father was the G20 summit in Osaka, Japan. The socialite and former reality star joined the likes of Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, French President Emmanuel Macron, and former British Prime Minister Theresa May at the event. And it's safe to say that there were some cringy moments that pertain to Ivanka's presence at such an important gathering. During a conversation between Macron, May, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and International Monetary Fund head Christine Lagarde, Ivanka tried to insert herself into the conversation, much to the chagrin of the world leaders in attendance. The then president's daughter was heavily criticized for the move. One of Donald Trump's most prominent means of communicating with his supporters has been through his rallies, and the events have been family affairs for the Trumps. Often joined by Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, Donald made his family front and center. But ever since leaving the White House, Ivanka Trump has been notably missing from her father's showmanship-like rallies, and people have been asking why. Ivanka and her husband, Jared Kushner, actively avoided Donald's January 2022 rally in Arizona. Instead of joining the former president at the MAGA event, Ivanka and her children joined her husband's parents for a weekend in Florida. So why did the once prominent rally trail pair avoid such a high-profile Trump event? It's hard to say for certain, but Ivanka has been steadily distancing herself from her father ever since the January 6 riot. To say that Donald Trump and his administration face legal concerns both during and after his time in the White House is a grave understatement, and it appears as though Ivanka Trump is being dragged into the legal mess of things. For one, Ivanka is the key witness in a number of alleged crimes committed by the family and Donald's company specifically, with the New York Attorney General, Letitia James, pursuing a line of inquiry with Ivanka at the center.
President Trump was almost on the verge of bankruptcy, and then all of a sudden he was flush with money.
If that wasn't enough, in mid-January 2022, James claimed that both Ivanka and Donald Trump Jr. misled financial institutions within their roles at the Trump Organization. As of March 2022, the New York Attorney General's case into the Trump Organization's dealings is ongoing. A new job often means a new location, and when Ivanka Trump became a prominent member of her father's administration, she and her family moved to the highly sought-after Kalorama neighborhood in Washington, D.C. However, given the fury that mounted against Donald Trump's administration following the January 6 riot, Ivanka, Jared Kushner, and their 3 children hightailed it out of D.C. as soon as she left the White House. Ivanka and her family moved from the political center to Miami, Florida, and leased a $40,000 per month condo. Ivanka's life after the White House, however, will not remain in the luxury complex. She and Jared purchased a plot of land on the very exclusive Indian Creek Island, located in the Miami area, for $32 million, with the goal of creating a permanent home. Real estate broker Dora Puig told CNN that Indian Creek is home to a number of wealthy people. When Donald Trump made himself known on the campaign trail, his family was with him. Ivanka Trump not only accompanied him to rallies and held a prominent position in his administration, but she constantly seemed to be in his shadow. However, ever since leaving the White House, Ivanka has made it clear that she is trying to distance herself from her father and his lies about the 2020 election being stolen.
Frankly, we did win this election.
Two sources close to Ivanka told CNN that she has tried to walk a fine line between supporting her father while also taking steps back from his false claims. CNN even went a step further and spoke to 12 former Trump White House officials, team members, and family friends who all dished about Ivanka's ever-changing dynamic with her father. While the former president will sometimes spend hours complaining about the 2020 results on any given day, Ivanka is seeking a less complicated life for her and her family that's removed from the endless drama of national politics. The sources close to the father-daughter pair also asserted the gap between Trump and his daughter and son-in-law grows wider by the week. To say that Donald Trump has political enemies is an understatement, and while many politicians find themselves at odds, Donald has particular beef with his vice president, Mike Pence. In the time since leaving the White House, Pence has made it clear that he and Donald have very differing opinions about the 2020 election and January 6th specifically. However, while you'd think that all of Donald's family would be on his side, Ivanka Trump appears to be at odds with her father. According to AP News, Donald, Ivanka, and Pence were in the Oval Office on January 6, 2021, and Pence rejected Donald's attempts to overturn the 2020 election.
President Trump is wrong. I had no right to overturn the election.
At that moment, Ivanka looked at Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg and said, "Mike Pence is a good man." According to congressional testimony, Kellogg responded, "Yes, he is." Ivanka's recently revealed comment displays just how much she's changed since her early days in politics. Furthermore, when Ivanka made one of her final tweets of her White House days, she did not include her father by name and not only wished Joe Biden prosperity, but encouraged the United States to seek common ground. Ivanka Trump's life changed so significantly after leaving the White House that she and her family moved out of their prominent Washington, D.C. neighborhood. While their former neighbors included the Obamas, Jeff Bezos, and various ambassadors, their new neighborhood isn't so thrilled that the political family has settled in. As Ivanka and Jared Kushner wait for their home on Indian Creek Island to be built, they've been living in Surfside, Florida. While 79% of Indian Creek residents voted for Donald Trump in 2020, Surfside went for Joe Biden, marking a significant change for Ivanka's environment. Eliana Salzhauer, a Surfside town commissioner, opened up to the Washingtonian about having the famous former first daughter as a local, and she did not hold back, telling the outlet, "It was, oh good, the town is getting recognition. Then it was, oh no, the psychos are coming." She went on to say that she did not want to become an enabler in Ivanka's quote, Reinvention Act, and summarized the situation quite bluntly, "What are they doing in our town?" One aspect of Ivanka Trump that nearly everyone could agree on was that her sense of style while working in the White House was on point. She always looked put together and sophisticated, and she often rocked designer labels with ease. However, Ivanka may be facing an extreme change when it comes to fashion since leaving Washington, D.C., as many designers no longer wish to work with her. Designer Batsheva Hay told the New York Times, "No one is going to lend Ivanka clothing. She'll have to buy it covertly at retail." And Hay may very well be onto something. While spotting Ivanka in anything other than stilettos was shocking while she was working at the White House, Donald Trump's daughter has been seen on numerous outings in very pared-back looks. For instance, Ivanka was seen in black leggings, a tank top, and sneakers during an outing with her family in Miami. On another occasion, the former fashionista was seen in a sweatshirt and leggings while out with her daughter. She even casually ran to Starbucks and picked up 2 pink drinks to boot. As the daughter of a wealthy real estate mogul, Ivanka Trump spent her life in the spotlight and amassed a large following. By the time her father won the White House in 2016, pretty much everyone knew who Ivanka was, whether they were a fan of her or not. With exposure on both the pop culture and political fronts, Ivanka gained a large social media following and posted frequently throughout her time in Washington, D.C. While a senior advisor to her father, Ivanka gave her followers insight into many of her responsibilities and appearances. From international travels to campaign efforts to family photos, Ivanka didn't hold back. However, the former first daughter all but disappeared from social media in May 2021. Her post about getting the COVID-19 vaccine on May 5, 2021 was her last peep on Instagram for months. It wasn't until January 18, 2022 that Ivanka posted on Instagram again, this time about participating in a food drive. Her departure from social media is clearly a drastic shift from her life in the White House. Here's a change that has benefited Ivanka Trump. According to iNews, the former first daughter's finances have reportedly steadily increased since she left Washington, D.C. David K. Johnson, a journalist and author of the book The Big Cheat, examined Ivanka and Jared Kushner's finances and determined that Donald Trump's daughter has significantly expanded her financial portfolio in the months since leaving the White House through a combination of companies and outside activities. According to Johnson, Ivanka and Jared had very troubled finances when they first entered the political arena, But due to a holding company set up by Jared in the Caribbean, the couple reportedly increased their worth by at least $172 million. Johnson even estimated that they could have made as much as $640 million, given their heightened fame. Of course, Johnson pursued the line of inquiry as to how the couple was able to profit so significantly during their time in Washington. Johnson posited that the couple's increased wealth may have benefited by what he calls the intersection of their financial interests and U.S. national security. Before she was a White House senior advisor, Ivanka Trump was at the heart of the Manhattan social scene. From her luxurious life at Trump Tower to her appearances on Donald Trump's The Apprentice to her high-profile friendships, not a ton of us could have expected that she'd become a Republican darling. Nevertheless, Ivanka jumped into the conservative political pool at the deep end, and while she expanded her profile with Republican voters, she alienated herself from the social scene she used to be a part of. Since leaving the White House, Ivanka's life has been rampant with rejection, and it doesn't look like the A-list scene will be inviting her back anytime soon. For example, Ivanka and Jared Kushner tried to rejoin the celebrity elite circle in November 2021 during a Louis Vuitton fashion show. With the likes of Kanye West and Pharrell Williams in attendance, the couple reportedly failed to reintegrate themselves or even snap photos with the A-listers in the front row. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more list videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.